Back and Chill holding it down this Friday afternoon in Midtown New York City. I'm Day NYC, and we the only show where you can kick back, relax, and have some fun. Now, before we get the show started, I just want to say happy holidays from my team to your family as we continue to fight through this pandemic and transition into this new year. Now, I know this year has been completely hectic, but you guys still remain to tune in to Kick Back and Chill every Fridays at 2, and I'm truly humbled for that, and I truly appreciate you guys for that. But you know what? We're going to transition into a new year humble, strong. We're going to remain confident, and just know we're going to get back to quote-unquote normal very soon as we continue to fight through this pandemic and work together. But you know what? Enough chit-chat. I'm ready to bring up my first guest. This is a 2-time platinum producer who's known for hits by Meek Mill, Mila J, YK Osiris. Not to mention, he is a marketing genius, and he's here in the building to talk about it. Y'all show some love for Promoboii. Oh, man. What's going on, bro? My dog. Just have a seat, have a seat. Oh, man, Promoboii is in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes,
how you
sir.
doing? First and foremost, how was the commute to NYC?
The commute was good, man. Y'all got a lot of traffic out here. Hella traffic.
Right. You know, man, let's get down to it, man. You are a platinum producer. I feel like you have tremendous success at a young age. But let's just, let's start from the beginning. Where did this producer route, what made you want to become a producer?
It was crazy. I was just a rapper, bro. But I remember one time I was in Miami with Jim Jones, Lil Mouse, and we had an engineer, but the engineer left for the whole entire day, and nobody knew nothing about it. And nobody knew how to work it or nothing. And I was the only one that was like recording on Pro Tools and stuff in my house back in Philadelphia. So they was like, yo, you said you were not to do that. You ain't. So I just did it, acting like I knew what I was doing.
You just winged it.
I just winged it. I made them feel like I knew what I was doing. So they gave me a chance. I was like, all right, well. And that was like my first experience in it, like doing songs for Lil Mouse. And then we did something for Tiana Teller. And then we did something for Jim Jones. All in this one house. Like they just was messing with me for the whole week, and they was like, all right, well, you the engineer. All I was really doing was like pressing record and like putting some compression and EQ and stuff. But they was messing with me, so I just started like, that's it. I just got more into it after that day.
Love it, man. So now you say you was in Miami.
Right.
But where were you at an event where you and you established these relationships?
No, bro, it's crazy. I started off doing videos.
Okay.
And somebody liked my work.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like in 11th grade. I dropped out of school, he flew me out. He flew me out to like Miami, and just with him, he was just like a weed dispensary guy. So he was plugged in with everybody. Right. Shout out to Chop. He was plugged with everybody. And then when we got down there, like he just introduced me as like the camera guy. Mm-hmm. So I was with everybody. I was with Lil Mouse. I was with Jim Jones. I was with Brian McKinley, he a football player. I was with a lot of people in BMF. I was just like the cameraman.
You was the go-to guy.
I was just the go-to guy, the only one with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how that happened. The camera actually got me into the music. That's the craziest part.
Mm-hmm. So now, let's kind of like talk about the producer's part. Now, what is the producer's job when he's in the studio with an artist? 'Cause I think many times people will say, oh, I'm a producer, but they're technically a beat maker, if not both.
Right.
And many people like, okay, I call myself a producer. I know how to create sound, but a lot of people don't really know. Like you can't give yourself a title if you're not really 100% confident into like your job description. So pretty much tell you what's your job, when you're in the studio working with these artists.
All right, so like the producer job is to take the record and bring it to life. So that can be tapping in anything. That could be tapping into the beat structure. Okay. That could be tapping in how you do your lyrics, how you move it around. My job is to take your idea that's already at 10% and get it to 100. So I can have one. Producer is one of many hats. I might just do the beat. I might switch around the vocals. I'm responsible for how it sounds sonically, like how it hits your ear.
Oh wow.
And anyway, that's the goal. You get what I'm saying? Like you're in charge of that to make sure when the public get it, it just sounds crazy.
Right. So normally, are you always in the studio with an engineer, or you just normally by yourself?
I do everything. Like, but I'm 9 times out of 10. Like, if it's somebody else's session, they might have an engineer with them. But 9 times out of 10, if you come to mine, I'm the guy. I'm gonna do it for you. Like, I'm gonna do everything for you.
That's dope. Mm-hmm. Now, like you say, they'll normally bring their own engineer. Tell us how important it is for a producer and or music engineer to have that relationship, that bond with their artists, because I feel like a lot of artists, they'll bounce around from different producers and it's kind of like, okay, I feel like this is your sound. No, I feel like you should do it this way or that way. You know, tell us, really stress the importance of why it's important to have a strong relationship with your producer or engineer.
I feel like if you're not consistent with the person you started with, your sound gonna be all over the place, and people gonna start thinking you're trying to copy off this person, copy off that person. So you got to stick with a guy. Like, you got to look at some of the greats out here, like Drake. He ain't never leave 40. That's like his producer. He ain't never leave 40. You look at Jay-Z or Guru. He ain't never leave Guru because they understand your sound and your vision as much as you do. So when you stand with one producer, got so many benefits. They know you best. Your engineer too, like, they know you best. They can help you and they know where you're trying to go. Y'all on the same page. And he help you stick with the same sound, and it just enhance.
Right, right. But you know, it's crazy. I think what a lot of artists do, you know, I know an artist myself, right, personally, and she's the type to be like, okay, I know I'm an artist, but I want to try to give it a shot to produce my own record. Even though I have a producer, I want to, you know, create my own sound.
That's good too. That's where you find, like, that's sometimes you got to do that. Like, sometimes nobody knows your sound best but you. How you know how everything is in your head, how you want it to sound like this. So sometimes, like, you have a lot of artists, it's like J. Cole, he did Power Trip by himself. He made the beat by himself. He produced it by himself. He recorded everything by himself because he felt as if nobody can get him to the finish line with him. So he just took control and he did it.
Miguel on the track.
Yep, that's how you got to do it.
Oh, okay, cool. Now let's talk about, you know, maybe some challenges you probably encountered, you know, as a producer and, you know, working your way up in this industry. Because I'm pretty sure it was a lot of doubters, a lot of naysayers.
Oh,
and haters.
yeah, hell yeah.
And talk about that, man. What are some challenges you probably had to encounter?
It was just getting people to trust me, and getting people to trust my ear.
Yeah.
And get into some of these rooms, like, cause you gotta understand. I'm at the time when I started, I'm like 23 years old. What do I know, right? Like, I'm a young kid, like. So they, like, and a lot of these producers that I'm going up against, you know, like Hitmaker, Dark Child, these guys is like established, they in their 30s, they in their 40s. And I'm just a kid telling you I can make a record for you. You get what I'm saying? So it's proving yourself. It was just proving yourself and gaining people's trust. I would say was probably like the hardest part.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now let's kind of like shift gears a bit and let's talk about you know how competitive, you know, and well, how hard it could possibly be. So let's say you're in the studio with an artist, and let's say they have this ego, right?
Right.
And which I feel like many artists have.
Oh, hell yeah, that's the whole game, bro.
You know,
it's crazy.
So let's talk about that. You in the studio with an artist who, let's say, who has an ego, right? And you just feel like, damn, their sound could be so much better, but they're not trying to, you know, do that. Can you really talk about how challenging that conversation is when trying to shift, when trying to make them change their sound into a better direction? Like, tell me what
you get that. You'll get it like I remember when I was doing a record, I did a record for, I did a record for Tamar, and I did a record for Mariah Carey. Rooms like that, you have to understand the artist is the artist, and you probably not gonna get much to change. So if you're dealing with an ego artist, all you can do is create around the sound that they don't want you to change, and add in what you can add. But it get difficult too, like, cause like some of them, you know, they just don't, you know, they're not gonna do it. Like, you get stuck in your own ways, and that's, I think, a lot of records suffer too, because people don't want to get in the studio with people. People don't want songwriters. Songwriters, it's not cool to have like a ghostwriter or nothing like that. So that,
how come? Like what's the situation with that? Why a lot of ghostwriters don't get the credit that they deserve?
I mean, it's like it's an ego, especially with rappers. It's like an accomplishment thing. All the rappers want to feel like they did this by themselves. They got here by themselves. They're the go-to person. They want to be looked at in the highest status. So if I tell you that I only wrote 10% of the song, it might take away from my credibility, you know. And it's an ego-driven industry. But when you're doing songwriters and like international stars like that, they don't have the same ego as that.
Right.
So you don't have to deal with that. I think that's just like only in a rap field, like, where you got to deal with that.
Yeah, you know, I feel like, you know, whether producing, engineering, a lot of people don't get the credit that they deserve. You know, a lot of people will pay attention. Like, let's say a new album come out, they just like, oh snap, it's Chris Brown, it's Drake. Like, oh, I love his songs.
Like they're the only ones.
Yeah, they're the only ones. But
there's so many people behind
the scenes.
So many people.
They probably people that walk the streets of New York, and you just don't know. They was in the studio with them 2 weeks ago, probably in L.A. or wherever the case may be.
Yeah, that's the problem. Me and you had first thing. It was like, it's like, because a lot of records, like, you don't get credit for it sometimes. You got to fight for the credit. You might not get your royalties for like 6 months later. It's a crazy game, because the only people that the label really care about is the artist. That the artist is taken care of. Everybody else get taken care of the back end. choreographer, the producer, they get their money on the back end or they credit on the back end or whatever the agreement is. You know, they the last person to get paid. Everybody know that.
That's good. That's good. Well, listen, man, I'm still rocking my boy Promoboii, but up next, we're going to be playing the Quick Game Plus, more of producing and what he has next as we transition into 2021, excuse me. So keep it locked and stay tuned.
Yeah.